So to read from the database, we're going to use our database class and our created model. So let me come back here. Let me close all files for a second, and then let's come back in here. There's a model for upload file, but let's create a model that will actually read from the database. So new model. Let me save this one. This one will be load images.php. Okay. PHP class load images, like so. Okay. So in here, what we want to do is simply db is equal to new database, like that, and then now we have a db where we can read, and the query in here. So the query is going to be a simple select statement. So let's do that. Query is equal to select all from images. Now order by ID descending, limit 10, or let's say limit 12, because I don't know if they're in 3s or 4s. Okay, so this is a simple query, and then this should have some data here. Data actually we'll just say return right there. Now we can't put this inside a class just like this, so it needs to be in a function. So we're just going to say public function. So this function will be I don't know, we can name it anything. Get images. Like this. Okay. So I can move this down here. All right, get images. There we go. So select and return that right there. I think that's straightforward enough. So in order to use this model, as usual, we go back. Where do we want to use it? It's on the photos page, which is the index page, right? So let me go to index page, which is the home. So this is where we are loading the home page. Now there's this variable called data. So we're just going to add to it. So what I'll say is, I'll come here and say, ooh, this is the class load images. Load, I'm just going to say load is equal to, or load class is equal to this load model. And what model do you want to load? The load underscore images. So once we load it, now we can access its function, which is get images, and it will return the result. So here we're going to say load class get images. So we're going to set this into this data. So we're just going to say data images is equal to that. So data is already passed in here, so we can use it later on. But to start with here, let me just see if we're going to not get an error. So undefined method query. Okay, so just like I thought, let me go back to database. Where is this? Read. So it's saying it doesn't know query, so which means I have to use db like so. Which will create a problem here. Or will it? Parameter 1 to be string. Okay, so we'll change things a little bit here. Let me get this statement here so we can still use it down here and put it here. So statement is equal to that, so we can still fetch with it at the end of the day, but we still need to know whether check was correct or not. So I'll just put I'll just say here check is equal to 0, and then say if statement. If statement was true, then check is equal to 1. That should solve the problem, so that here we can know whether check was true or false. Great. Yeah, I think this is good. So we should do the same thing to the right down here, right up to there. Okay, great. So let me refresh. Ooh. So query expect parameter 1 to be string, array was given. So what this means is that in the query I put data instead of query here. So my bad, I will put that there and come back here as well. There. Oop. That should do it. Okay, so it seems we have good results since there's no error. So let me close the database, come back to the home class here where we get our data. So right here what I can try and do is simply show the data just to be sure that we are getting something before I start troubleshooting. So I will refresh, and there we go. So you see we are getting some images here, which is mighty awesome if you ask me. Okay, so now that we have some data and it's in here, so data, images, and that's where we are putting everything in there. Okay, great. So now what we need to do is go to our template, which is showing, this is the index page, right? Now in the index page we have all these images that are created that are static. So let me refresh this a little bit. So all these static images, so we have to delete all these except for the first one because we're going to use a loop instead. So I'm going to come here where there's the latest photos, and the gallery starts from here, and then there's a div with which contains, so this up to here is one of those divs which has views and all that. So it starts here, it ends there. So everything else down here is irrelevant. So let me come back here just to make sure that I don't delete anything that is not important. Okay, there, delete. Okay, so what we're going to have is just one of these now, like that. Great, this is awesome. So now what we do is, because instead of having to what is this? So gallery starts there, this one. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and create a new file right here in the catalog, right? You can create a new folder if you want to, but I think this will do just fine still. Let me just do this. Okay, so this represents one box. So I'm just going to say single image .php. You can name it anything you want. So single image .php. There we go. So now right in index, this is the single image right here. So I'm going to replace this with view here. I'm going to say that. So the view now, instead of header, is going to contain single image underscore image, like that. Okay, refresh, and there we go. See, we have a single image there. If I remove this, you see that we will not have an image anymore. Okay, great. This is nice. So now we can use a loop to loop through this. So what I can say is, I can say if is set or is array data images. So we are referring to this thing here that we created, data images. That's where we stored our images when we got them. So data images. So if data images is an array, oh, and by the way, these PHP tags should start from there. Something like so. So if this is an array, if is array, so here we'll do that one. So let me come back here. And then we can do a for each loop. So I'm going to say for each. So we're going to loop whatever is in here over there. We don't need the key. We just need to say as a row like that. Okay. And then instead of sending all the data in this, we're just going to send a single row which is active at that time, like so. So let's see, we're supposed to see the same number. Okay, so we have 4 images here from the database. But now let's go in and utilize this row here, single image right here. Great. Like on let's see, where does it say view more? Ooh, where is that photo detail? Single image. Okay, great. Okay, so here's the image link right there. So it's inside, it's not inside assets folder, it's inside root. So we're going to use root because that's where our upload folder is. So from there we can easily say, because it's all PHP, so I can say root plus row, and row in this case has its image actually like that. Because if we go in the database, image is the one that contains the path. So the root, which is public, and then uploads, and then the file name, right? So there we go. So that should actually work. So let's come back here and refresh so we can see some images. Ooh, we are not seeing images here. So what is going on? So let me go and look at the, okay, the file names seem fine. So let me come back here, equals root and that. So what's going on? Let's see here. Right click and inspect element, so we can see some errors in here. Undefined variable row. Isn't that rich? Okay, so row is undefined. However, if we come back here, we're actually supplying it here. List view single for each data images as row. And then when we come back here, oh, that's because regardless, sorry about that, regardless what we call it here, in here it comes in as data. Now, that's because inside the controller, when rendering a view, it's written as data here, so it comes in as data regardless what the issue is. Okay, so great to know. So let's come back here, refresh, and if you see these doing this, it means we have problems. Okay, so something weird happened. There's probably an error, so I need that. I'll go to index.php, no, actually header.php, and disable the loader because I want to see some errors. Errors are important. So so I do not actually see any errors. What is going on? So that is not very helpful at all. So it means something here is going on. Maybe there's a missing semicolon or something. Let me just write it properly here. PHP echo, just to reduce the amount of things that could go wrong. Let me come out here, and still we have that problem. Echo root. So the fact that it's not loading means there's a syntax error. So echo root. What am I missing here?